And we are live. Welcome to our 9th video in the series of Torment videos. So let's jump right into it. So last we left off, we came down to the underbelly. And down here, we spent some time interacting with these ancient machines, the under-foreman, the foreman, and the artisan. And these machines were built by some ancient race or something like that. We're not entirely sure. They're just called the creators, and the creators left them here. They left mysteriously. We don't know why they left. And when they left, these machines, these kind of mystical machines with a definite personality and motivations and goals, they were left immobile. But according to the master foreman, have freedom because they are free to think as they will. One of these machines, the under foreman, here we can see he's a little bit in a little bit rougher shape than the other ones, but they do still work. They manage all of what is going on down here. So it is their goal is to build and to be builders and creators, and they've helped to keep the city in running order, to build it up to be magnificent. That was kind of their goal. So his goal, however, he branched off apparently some decades ago, perhaps a little bit longer, where he wanted children. And so he's been creating these smaller, yes, robots, for lack of a better term, to be his children. And in order to give them life, he needed to transfer his own energy from his mechanical body to his children, but his workings did not allow him to get above the threshold necessary in order for them not to immediately die. And so his assistant Tarnish was helping him with this, somewhat reluctantly, but while he didn't want, in the process, in terms of making his children, he realized that it's necessary for him to break that threshold, but that would, kill him. And so his assistant Tarnish was willing to help him, but didn't want him to die. Basically, he has a relationship with him. They've worked together for decades. He said nearly 70 years, and he didn't want him to die so that he could have these children, but he was willing to help him because it's what he wanted. So we said we would help him, and Tarnish recommended we go to the Order of Truth, and that they might be able to help us with that, which isn't surprising. They kind of deal in those strange machine body interfaces and life forces and energy. And they did. They created a device for us, but when we came down and spoke with the underforeman, we convinced him to wait. So for now, he is going to continue on with his life as is. And I don't know if that's the right decision for him or anything like that. But he was willing to accept it. He didn't refuse. So we'll see what happens with him. There might be more in the future. After that, we went down here, and I had noticed these creatures here before, but I didn't explore it at all. And we came down, and these are the Stitcha. And the Stitcha dig. They dig, and they dig, and they dig. And they are digging under the city, and parts of the city collapse because of how they dig. And they dig. We managed to. They don't speak the common language. It's English to us, but whatever the common language is here. And there is a Palai, and she is of Argellan, and she was sent to as a diplomat to negotiate with the Stitcha to have them stop digging. And they dig because there is apparently electricity in the rocks, and that is essentially their food, and it is a good place to lay eggs. And they are sentient, they are intelligent, And when we spoke with him, our one of our past lives as the changing god came into play. We had interacted with the Stitcha previously, and we knew their language, and their language is different than the common language. They speak with it's a mixture of gestures and sounds and smells that they emit from their bodies. So we remembered that. We were successful in the skill check to remember that language, and we were able to speak with Chikekt, who is essentially kind of the de facto leader, it seems like. He can speak a little bit of the common language, but not much else. And Palai was not getting anywhere with her negotiations with them to encourage them to stop digging. We tried. We were not successful, but now we are going to go and we are going to investigate. Palai wanted us to go and take their eggs, all of them, to use it as a negotiation tool. But we learned from our scanned thoughts, that our ability to read her mind, that she also apparently plans to probably sell the eggs. They are apparently worth money. So I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we are going to head down there because we weren't successful in convincing Chikekt to either move elsewhere or to stop digging for any reasons that we gave him. He doesn't really care about the people above, and his reasoning is that, well, they don't care about us. Which I think is a, eye for an eye, world goes blind, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go and explore, because people are dying when parts of the city collapse, and that's a problem. And like I said in the previous video, I'm surprised that they aren't taking a harder line, but that may happen in the future. But we are going to go and we are going to investigate. I don't know if it'll immediately take us into fighting because we're going to be in their space, or if there's going to be some other avenue that we can pursue. I don't think that these creatures are evil, but they are somewhat callous towards the people above. But it is somewhat he made a point that, yeah, the people don't really care about them. Most of them are just afraid of them. But I think that maybe we can work out a solution, but we'll find out when we go down there. They may be immediately hostile, and I think that this is the place, the way that we go. I don't know for sure if this is the way that we go in. It says collapsed tunnel, so I figure that there's probably some way that we can dig through a little bit and perhaps make our way in. I guess that this is the spot, but I haven't confirmed, so I might be wrong. So let's... we found here, so this is a collapsed tunnel, and part of this collapsed tunnel, there is a Stitches here that was apparently crushed when this tunnel collapsed. Poor fellow. We'll find out. So let's go to our journal and get a grasp of where we are with this secondary quest. So it is a secondary quest, Shaky Foundations. So let's see if there's any information here that I've summarized most of it, but let's see if there's anything a little bit additional here that we can find out, and just to kind of direct us to our goal. So Palai, that's the Vargillan, a Vargillan agent of the slave families, is trying to stop the Stitcha from digging underneath the city. Apparently, the creatures are destabilizing Sagas Cliffs and causing buildings to collapse. Her negotiations have gone nowhere, so she's turned to less honorable tactics. So she wants us to steal the eggs. That would be her less honorable tactics. Sneak into the Stitcha lair and steal their eggs. That's what she wants us to do. I was reluctant at first, but it doesn't seem like we have many other options, and we do need to stop the city from collapsing. It is causing some significant problems for the people who live there. Palai wants me to steal all the Stitcha eggs from their lair so that the city can use them as a bargaining chip. She'll also accept a negotiated settlement with the Stitcha if I can somehow bring one about, but she doesn't believe that such a settlement is possible. So it might be the case that once we take the eggs, we have a bargaining chip with both sides, and we can make a deal that way. I don't know if we're going to steal the eggs. Another option might present itself. Maybe we learn something down there. We can come back and speak with Chikekt. I don't know what's going to happen. So, as I usually say, let's find out.
Let's go.
So it says, the dead Stitches lies where you left it, surrounded by ichor-stained rocks. So we would use our might. And actually, let me check our pools, because I think that we are pretty low. I am not sure if I want to head down there with our pools this low. So let's, instead of resting, let's use some of our resources to replenish some of our pools. So Tibir could definitely use some might, and his maximum is 4. Calisteg's is 2, very low, and ours is 5, but ours is full. So we will give this to... we don't use might that often. Because Tibir, his weapon, it uses his speed. So his speed is his primary... the primary resource that he uses when we're fighting. And for both Calisteg and ourselves, the last cast-off, we use intelligence mostly, and mine is totally drained. So that is a bad place to be in for that. We are basically full health, so I've only lost 1 health, and that is from this Jally that, or not this Jally, the other Jallies in the fountain when we tried to get another one and they bit us. So we lost 1 health. And also there's this guy here. I don't know what it does. It says use item, so maybe we'll try some of that and see what happens. But I wanted to restore our intellect, and I'm not sure if we have anything that does that. So I've got healing potions for our health. I don't think I have anything that restores our intellect, because we had used the cipher on Calisteg that we had, and she still has some uses on that to get the intellect edge, which I think is still in effect. Yeah, let's check that. Where did we see her status effects? It'll be here. So she is rested, and she still has fresh vapors, and it has 5 uses, and I suspect it lasts until we rest. So it is that is a very powerful fettle on her, and if I don't have to get rid of it, I don't want to. And she still has all of her intellect pool. I have none. It looks like maybe I don't think the merchant down here had anything that would help with that, but let's go just double check, because I would really like to. Let me double check. I don't have anything. We've got this guy here. Let's see what happens when we use it. Just cause. You take the object out of your pack and hold it up by the attached cord, studying it as it spins before you. It reminds you of certain creatures found in sea attached to rocks. Only this one has a cord of material looped through the hole in one of its legs. So, as usual, I will examine the creature first. The creature has tough, briny skin and 7 spindly legs that emit radially from a thicker, fleshy disc at its center. Around the disc on one side is a circle of puckered flesh surrounding a tightly closed muscular flap, while the other side has a similar flap but is otherwise smooth. So we're going to examine the loop of elastic material. The material is flexible but soft, stretching up to nearly twice its original length when you pull on it. Your best guess is that the loop was meant to allow the creature to be worn in some fashion. So it stretches quite far. I don't know what the size of this creature is. Did it say? And hold it up. You pull it out of your pack. Reminds you of certain features. Only this one has a cord material wrapped around its legs. There's a tough, briny skin. Thicker, fleshy. It doesn't really say anything about its size, so I don't know if it's most appropriate to be a belt, necklace, or put it back in our pack. I think I will wear it. I mean, it's elastic, and I feel like that makes more sense for a belt than a necklace. So let's wear it as a belt with the fashion accessory. You stretch the loop of material to its limit and slip it over your shoulders and down your waist. Some might find it stylish, but it has no effect. Okay, well, let's wear it like a necklace. Inclining your head, you slip the loop over and around your neck, where it contracts to fit snugly. The attached creature settles over your chest. Walk a few paces and find that it's somewhat uncomfortable to have the creature thumping against you with every step. After a minute or so of this you feel silly and start to take it off. I'm going to say I suspect we can't. As you pull the loop up back over your head, the creature brushes against your face and suddenly twitches. You wrench the creature away and watch for signs of further movement, but it seems just as lifeless as before. Cautiously, you bring the creature closer to your face. At first, it does not respond, but as you move it around, you discover that it only comes to life when it's near one of your eyes. Okay, well, we can wear it like an eye patch. I'm a little worried about the effect this might have, but I want to see what it does. I'm too curious. Stretching the loop slightly, you gingerly place it around your head, allowing the creature to settle just in front of your right eye. It comes to life, contorting its legs to match the contours of your face. Your right eye is completely blinded by the obstruction. Suddenly, you experience a sensation not unlike someone blowing a single puff of air directly into your eye. You blink several times involuntarily, but only with your free eye. The creature is forcefully keeping your other eye open. Probing around the creature's edges, you discover that it has formed a perfect seal over your eye. Tears form in your covered eye, and a wet, slithering noise accompanies a most bizarre sensation as your vision clears. It takes you a moment to realize that the creature is blinking for you, which is quickly displaced by the realization that you can once again see out of the previously blinded eye. The creature is still in place, but you are somehow looking through it. Delicately, you feel around the surface of the creature. You find that the creature's briny skin has slid aside to reveal a smooth, slightly flexible substance that seems to be acting as a lens. Each time you tap it, the creature blinks, the muscular flap swatting your fingers aside as it presumably cleans the lens. While much of the world appears the same through your covered eye, certain things appear in hues that are wholly unfamiliar to you. Your mind struggles to process what it's seeing, and you know that if you had to attempt to describe the colors to someone, you would fail utterly. As wondrous as your newfound sight is, you find it highly disorienting, and resume your search for a way to detach the creature. Wish I could make that choice, actually. After some experimentation, you discover that simply removing the loop from around your head causes the creature to release its grip. You feel around your face for any permanent scarring, but the creature has left no mark. Okay, so this is interesting, and I feel like it's going to reveal things to us. So if we can see in a different hue, but there may be a penalty associated with it. It did say that it's uncomfortable. So let's wear it a little bit down here. I don't think it's going to do anything for our intellect pool. I was kind of hoping it would, but that's fine. So I said we're going to wear it like an eye patch again. And you fit the loop around your head, and again the creature seals itself onto your eye. When it opens, the world is once again awash in strange colors. You take a moment to appreciate the sheer beauty of the spectacle around you before removing it once more. Okay, so maybe we have to wear this in a specific place. It sounds like if I do this again, I'm going to get the same response. Probably, yes. So at this point, it's in that loop of narration about what's going on. So we're going to put it back in our backpack. This is kind of similar to this guy, the cyclonic cube. The cyclonic cube, it reacts when we ask who or what it is. I don't quite remember which, but it's something of that nature. And it reacts to that. Otherwise, whenever we ask it other questions, it just shows us images. And I'm wondering if there's a specific context we need to use it in. So I'm going to hold on to those. I know what I don't know what I know what the antagonist does. It hasn't had any effect yet. This here is half of a ring, so that won't help us. This is the globe that we got from Artisan, and it's just pretty, apparently. I'm not really sure, like when we get these oddies, I'm not entirely sure if indeed it is the case that we want to be selling them. I think the ones that we use, we obviously don't. I'm not planning on selling this anytime soon because I believe that there's going to be a place where we use it. Then stuff like this, there's no apparent use to it, or the antagonist, there's no apparent use for it. I don't know if it would do anything when it's in our pack, but it's hard to say. So let's get back to the business of healing. I'm a little concerned because hey, there we can split it there. I'll give him one, and I'm going to use it. for Tybir, because we've been using quite a few of his resources. And I don't have anything that restores my intellect pool. I do have healing potions. That's great. But let's go to the Meat Monger. Maybe, you know, it's like food, and maybe there's some stuff that that's restorative. Meat Monger. A short, solid man stands behind a smoking grill, turning pieces of meat with a pair of grimy tongs. Sweat is pouring down his grizzled face, yet he's covered head to toe in grease-splattered clothes. His sleeves are tight at the wrists, and his collar pinches his neck. Nearby are 3 large vats that are filled with living meat, great amorphous masses of it, with appendages growing from them like the limbs of animals drowning in a meat swamp. That's quite the image. The first vat is filled with thick, throbbing muscles, red and raw. The second is a flapping monstrosity of leathery wings, and the third sprouts hundreds of lac-tails, all wiggling obscenely. The cook looks up from his work and gives you a sweaty smile. "Hey ho, I'm Myuk the Meat Monger. What do you have?" So what kind of meat do you sell? Why are you bundled up like that? And farewell. Well, let's say, what kind of meat do you sell? He laughs and bangs the grill with his tongs, making sizzling grease fly. 3 kinds, friend. Anine, Drabil, and Lac. Right in those vats, actually. Want some? Well, let's see. So I'd like to buy some meat. Sure, what would you like? Anine shank? Dribble wing? Lac-tail? I don't know what each of them are, and I wish I could say no at this point. So I think I like wings, so maybe we will have the Drebble wing. That'll be 2 shins. Okay, great. I'll do it. I'll just jump right in. Good choice. Myuk produces a jagged knife and saws one of the leathery wings from the fluttering mass and tosses it onto his grill. It flaps weakly for a few moments, then lies still. An aroma like sweet baking fruit begins to rise from the stiffening wing. After a short time, Myuk lifts it from the grill with a pair of tongs and hands it to you. You take a bite. The wing is crunchy and sweet, with a rich and fruity taste. Good, eh? Nobody believes it till they try. Myuk grins and slaps his belly. I eat him all day long. Keeps me trim and handsome. Okay, so I wonder if that'll have an effect. Let's see. Let's say I've never seen meat grown in a vat before. How does it work? How? He shrugs. Couldn't tell you. Found a little doodad back when I was a butcher, and I'd fiddle with it all day long, kind of like how I do now with my tongs. He waves the tongs around to show you what he means. So one day I was fiddling with this thing and cutting up a carcass, and it kept growing back its missing parts. Cut the tail off, and there it was again, a moment later. Crazy, right? But it gave me an idea. I could open a little grill with no overhead, and it worked. Been cooking the same 3 hunks of flesh for years now. He beams. Okay, well, that does sound like a pretty good deal for him. I'm not entirely sure, why he's down here. Maybe the meat is unappetizing in other locales. But we ate it, and it seemed like it didn't say it was putrid. So that's a good thing. Let's go farewell. I don't see any... Well, I didn't get any intellect back, so that's too bad. Let's check the map. Where's the... There she is. Michaela, I think, is how you say her name. So let's head over to her and double check. I don't think she did, but let's double check and see what she has. So the scrawny old woman peers at you through her spectacles. Welcome back. Want to buy anything? Let me know. Let me see what you have for sale. She did have some ciphers. So clear. Oh, that's mine. So this was a weapon. How much money do we have? 260. And this one here, the furtive Eidolon, is a cipher. And it gave us stealth. Oh. That could be useful for what we are doing. I am going to buy that now. And I wasn't totally sold on the weapon. I thought, we'll wait to come back. I'm not going to get the Berserker's Yoke. And this is the same armor that we're wearing. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get this cipher too. I mean, we have, we did the cipher training to get the increased limit for ciphers. So let's make use of it. This route might be very useful if we end up in any fights with the Stitcha. Unfortunately, nothing to replenish my intellect pool. Let's head upstairs, because I really don't want to head down with 0 intellect. I don't really want to rest. I would like to avoid that because I want to keep her Fresh Vapors buff Fettle up. And additionally, I also... she still has a lot of her resources. Callistake does. And so most of them, she's only used a little speed. And actually, Tybir is in pretty good shape too, especially to fight. He doesn't use his intellect that much in fights. I'm the only one without any intellect pool right now, and I need it to fight. I mean, I can fight without it, but I am far less effective. So let's go ahead.
Forward. Onward.
And double check what Sangolin has, if he has anything. And we'll go to the market as well and see what we can find there. We still have a little bit of money. So number 4, I'd like to see what you sell. So he has, what was this? That's might. Darn. That's not what I wanted. Do they have shields? I don't even know if she can use a shield with this. Does it say? I wonder if it has to say, does it say one-handed, two-handed, or anything like that? It's light. I don't see any. So, like, clearly he can use the rapier with the shield. I'm just wondering if items that you can't use with a shield say you can't use them with a shield. Now, we picked this up. Once again, I don't know if those have any value. Like in the game, obviously they have value in terms of money, like the oddities that we find. But I'm not sure if they have, if they interact in any way with the story or people that you meet, or creatures that you meet, or environments that you're in. Flying effort on attacks is critical to success in crisis, but be careful not to drain your pools too quickly. Yeah, that's the problem I am facing currently. So I don't think... So the arms merchant is there. There's a seer. That probably is not helpful. The execution, Prada will sell stuff. Let's check. I think the arms merchant literally only had weapons, and he purchased stuff from us, but I don't remember him having any potions, essentially. So number 2, see what you have for sale. No, it's just armor and weapons, which is unfortunate. But let's go down here. This looks like, so this is Prada. And we see various devices clutter the 3 tables of this stall. Some of them spark and twitch as if objecting to the proximity of their neighbor. So interesting. Magical, active devices, mechanical devices, perhaps some mystical element to these devices. That's definitely a theme that I'm noticing in this game about the technology. There's a mix of the mystical and mechanical. Prada. So we haven't spoken to Prada. It says, in the shadows cast by the folds of this merchant's cowl, you glimpse hints of verdant chitin and amber mandibles erupting from pale human flesh. Her voluminous robes cannot hide the fact that her movements are off, as if too many joints inhabit too little space. But her voice is warm, tumbling flood of spoken thoughts and impulses. Interesting. So she apparently has human flesh, but there's like this, the chitin and the mandibles are like trying to get out. So I don't know if she's like a human hybrid with some kind of insectoid race or something. Well, maybe we'll find out. A fair afternoon to you. Warm, isn't it? Something begins humming in one of her many pockets, and her brilliant, multifaceted eyes flicker towards an invisible point in the distance. Well, not as warm as it could be, but this is the warmest minute of the week by a considerable margin. She trails off, but the hum continues. Oh, you have one of those tattoos too. Anyway, can I interest you in some prime artifacts? Dusty relics? Numenera of uncertain origin? And she's thinking, he looks like that pale woman. No, you're right, Bertie. Not looks. Smells. So, an interesting character here, Prada. Some kind of part human, part insectoid. I don't know for sure. And you have one of those tattoos. Recognizes the tattoo that we have, as far as I understand, is as a result of us being a cast-off. And she says he looks like that pale woman. So what pale woman? I'm not sure who she's referring to. So maybe we'll have a chance to ask about it. I haven't read any of the responses yet. And is thinking to someone, obviously communicating thoughts. You're right, Bertie. So I don't know if that's like an internal kind of like speaking to another entity that either she envisions is in her mind, or an actual entity that she is telepathically communicating with. So you appear to be transforming into an insect. That might be rude. I'm looking for someone who can repair complex machines. So that would be the resonance chamber that we are currently trying to repair. So she may be able to help. And by the nature of what she's selling, that does look like a pretty good bet that she might have some insight. But I'm not really going to go down that road yet. However, she says, you said someone else had my tattoo. Who? It's interesting because I didn't... If it's a tattoo from being a cast-off, I wouldn't think that... I don't know how many other cast-offs there are or if they're around, and so there may be some that are around. We have not come across any other cast-offs yet. So you said someone else had my tattoo. Who? So Prada says, oh, right, a pale lady. She wanted me to fix an artifact of hers, but I couldn't make any sense of it. That is rare, believe me. So that could hint that she might be able to help us with the resonance chamber. Prada sighs. I felt sorry for her, to tell you the truth. She seemed sad, like she'd lost something and was never going to get it back. And she wouldn't say what it was she'd lost when I asked her. I know I could have helped. She thought that. That's, we've read her mind. So she wouldn't say what she'd lost. So if she is a cast-off, then it might be that she it might be that sense of self that she lost by, the changing God leaving the body behind. Or it might be something she might be talking about something very physical in a sense. So, she wanted me to fix an artifact of her and, couldn't make any sense of it. Like she'd lost something and was never, never mind. It's referring directly to this artifact, it seems. But it might be related to the fact that she's a cast-off. So I kind of misinterpreted that a little bit, but that's fine. So tell me about the pale woman with the tattoo again, and see if she just says the same thing. So she'd either lost something or was just lost. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying, where she might feel lost as a cast-off, and I'm not sure how that interaction works. We seem to be totally our own person in the sense of it's a little it's like we have a bit of amnesia almost, but we don't seem to be fumbling around too much, a little bit. But we don't know what effects it has on other cast-offs. Maybe they're left more bewildered, or maybe it's an array of effects when a cast-off is created. So let's see what she's selling first. Good. This is exactly what I wanted. So we are going to, which one was it? Here we are. I'm going to buy both of these. How much are they? 40. I am going to get both because I need both. And I don't want to rest before we go down. And this is a cipher. Next time this character is reduced to 50% less health, automatically refill. Wow, that's really powerful. It's one use. And I don't have the money to buy it right now anyway. So this is she sells quite a few ciphers. So this is good. We might come back and check with her. Oh, wow. Now that's a powerful cipher to refill health, might, and speed and intellect for all party members. Now we are at our cipher limit. So we would have to give that to someone else. And that might be useful. There are quite a few ciphers, and we've only been using ciphers that we've found. We did buy some recently, so I got this one here, which is going to allow us to be stealthier, and then the root as well. Let's see what some of these other ones do. Prey Sector's Eye confers Prey Sector's Eye on target, minus 30 evasion, so it makes them vulnerable to weapon, an enemy vulnerable to weapon attacks, and it's active for an entire crisis. And I'm kind of wondering, like, when it doesn't say number of uses, I wonder if you can just use it over and over and over again, because that is pretty cool if you can. Active 3 rounds, consumes action. Well, maybe once we use one, we'll find out. So, this one just deals chemical damage. This one here, because this one here, which one said it had one use? There we are. So this one here, there's one use, and I wonder if they all just go away after you use them once. We'll find out. There's some that it seems like we have that other, which one here? This one here, the panoramic capture ball. It seems like it was used over and over again, so I don't know if it goes away once we use it, but we're going to use it when we go down into those tunnels. But I definitely need to replenish those points of... I need to be able to replenish my intellect, so we're going to be able to do that. I don't have much money left. 81 Shin. What else did... let me take a look. We'll come back and talk to Prada about the Resonance Chamber. We're going to focus on what we're doing right now. I don't think there's anything else here that I'm going to get. Deals 10 points of health. This one here deals trans-dimensional damage. Hobbled. So, similar to the ability that I believe Callistake has. This one here that is a very powerful cipher. But I don't have enough money for it, and I'm not really quite willing to start selling stuff yet. I don't have enough knowledge. This is a meta thing. I don't have enough knowledge about the game, really, to know if these are just like trinkets that you sell, and that's it. Like this here. You know, it doesn't have a use, and I don't think it does anything. But it's worth, 89 Shin. I'd be able to get that cipher, but I just got it, and I don't know if it does anything. I know that this does something when I use it, right? So I don't want to sell that because I think that I can use it in certain circumstances. But we're going to go ahead and we are going to go back down, and that will be that. And once again, like this guy here, like we got him. I don't know if he's worth anything. We got a Jal, or I know he's worth something. He's worth 57 Shin. I don't know if that's all he's worth. So we're going to hold on to those things for a little while because I would like to see kind of how they affect the game, if they do, when you have them in your inventory, if there's a reason to hold on to them. So a green glowing icon next to the name of a skill indicates that you've boosted it. Oh, I missed it. Should have started reading it sooner. Gotta remember to read though. That was a new one that I hadn't read before. Maybe it's come across before, but I haven't read it before. All right, let's head down into the underbelly. Number 1, climb down. Blue tide represents wisdom, enlightenment, and mysticism. Okay, so now we know what the blue tide is about. I have not read any like wikis on the tides or anything like that, and I think I will. I don't think that it's going to create any spoilers or anything, understanding what the tides are, and I think that that'll give me a little bit more insight into how the game interprets our actions, because sometimes, when you're reading the voice and the prompts and stuff like that, it can be a little confusing in terms of you don't understand the tone of how something is going to be said or how it's going to play out. So that can be unfortunate, where you intend one thing but it doesn't translate. So we're going to take a quick break here before we presumably head down. In this point, I'm going to replenish some of my intellect. Let's do that now. So use item. We are using it on ourselves. Make sure we got that right. And then we will hold on to it because I don't know to what extent we're going to need anything. you know, it might be the case that there's very little fighting when we go down there, and I don't even know what's going to happen. So we might not need a particularly, like, a ton of resources, but I suspect we'll need some. And hopefully we find some additional ones down there. But we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back shortly. See you soon. All right, folks, we are back. So, we just took a short break, and we are going to hop right back into it. So we are outside this tunnel, which I presume is the way to where the Stitcha have their eggs. So let's find out.
Yes.
The dead Stitchus lies where you left it, surrounded by ichor-stained rocks. So might move the rocks to uncover the corpse. So we don't use might very often. So he has I have a base of 30. Calisteg does not use might very much. She would have 70 if she uses 2. I would have... So just hang tight. There's 1. Do we have... Three, 2, 1. So it's all the same for us, but Tybir can expend more. We have 5, and we don't use it very much, so I think we'll go ahead and we will do it. We will expend 2 to try to be successful. And we were. The rock is hardest to shift. The first rock is the hardest to shift. Once you warm to the task, you are nearly flinging them aside until you have fully exposed the corpse beneath. So we will examine the uncovered corpse. Clearly, the creature was digging this tunnel when the roof collapsed and killed it. Its smaller claw is mangled and smashed, but apart from the crushed thorax and a few gashes in its carapace, the body itself is surprisingly intact. I suppose they have some kind of exoskeleton, so they would be somewhat resistant to this type of bodily harm. Not enough to live, though, so our natural lore here coming into play. The creature's claws left furious gouges in the fallen rocks and surrounding walls. You realize that it intentionally collapsed the tunnel. That's interesting. It wanted to die. Okay, so it wanted to die. We don't know why. Either, you know, it was suicidal for... you know, for whatever that means to these creatures, or it was trying to accomplish a goal, like this being, maybe it was a weak point in terms of access to things that they cared about, like their eggs. So we'll go ahead and examine the corpse again. Other than the crushed thorax and mangled claw, the corpse is surprisingly intact. And I don't think we're going to get any other information. So, step away. So I don't know if we do this, it's just going to allow us... Yeah, no, I don't want to examine the corpse again. So I'm looking here, because now I'm a little curious about how we get to where we're trying to go. So the Stitcha here, this the Stitcha incursion, collapsed tunnel. Maybe we go and we talk...
I'm ready.
...to Chekekt, after finding that dead Stitcha. Human who speaks Stitcha, Chekekt mutters. Chekekt will speak. I have come again to stop, to ask you to stop digging into the city. Can you take me someplace into the city? Can you tell me about this place again? Can we talk about Ply again? Can you tell me more about this Stitcha? It doesn't seem like there's anything new here. You can try number 1 again. It's going to say before no, where we go. Never mind, let me ask other questions. So there's nothing here that is. So can you take me someplace into the city? Is there anywhere it regards you suspiciously? Travel cost, need shins. Cost 10 shins. Can you take me somewhere under the city? Nope. And the only place it allows me is to where that allows me to ask is where the eggs hatch. And he already said no to that. So we'll say forget it, farewell. And I'm just curious. This tunnel is blocked by debris, but it's loose enough that a burrowing creature could easily pass its way through. So now, that's the same for all of those. I don't know how to find where the eggs are, so let's talk to Palai. How can I reach the Stitcha lair?
I'll remember that.
If I knew, I would go there myself. The Stitcha are quick to dispatch intruders, and I doubt that they would take humans or Vargellans there of their own accord. Perhaps a construct of some sort or a digging machine, but I know little of fabrication or manufacturing, so I will leave that for you to explore. Okay, so there might be some folks that we can talk to. Maybe the foreman will help us. Maybe we'll go for farewell. Let's go speak with the foreman and see if they have anything that they can assist us with in respect to digging. Perhaps we can dig where we found that collapsed tunnel and the dead Stitcha.
Let's go.
So the master foreman, you're back, the frozen construct says, glaring down at you. We don't train novices here. Why are you here? What do you want? Out with it. So, let's talk business again. Glad to. Out with it. I'm trying to reach the lair of the Stitcha. Can you build me a digging construct? Alright, well, let's see what he says. Yes, the master foreman declares, glowing eyes scanning the ceiling. Stalkers, bring me the war machine casing from Z-19, the intelligence nexus from B2, and the scouring claws from my personal collection. It lowers its eyes on you. Now, let's talk payment. Master Artisan, make sure you include the costs of repairing the damage done by unleashing an insane war machine with molten claws on the city. The distant artisan calls.
I'll remember that.
Stalkers, stand by, the master foreman shouts. Artisan's not wrong, it says in a much lower voice. For once, that might be more construct than you need. Give me a moment. The eyes wink out for several seconds. Engines embedded in the construct's chest roar. Then the engines reignite. Find me the intact corpse of a Stitchus. We can reinforce the carapace and recover the spatial memory system if it's not too far gone. Should lead you straight to its lair. And since you're supplying the materials, I'll waive the cost. So I found a Stitchus corpse in a dead-end tunnel on the far side of the underbelly. Will that work for a digging construct? Yep. How convenient. The construct's flickering eyes become a bonfire. Fetchers, it roars. Artificers, report to supervisor for a new project. Okay. Hours later, the workers trudge back. The supervisor makes a complicated hand signal to the master foreman. You'll find the construct where you left it, ready for use, the construct grumbles. I should have asked you to pay after all. Supervisor says it's a masterpiece. Its eyes dim as it descends into deeper thought. But no, a deal's a deal. Okay. 5. Farewell. All right. So I believe we go down here. Oh yeah, I can't double click on the map. Kind of frustrating. It wasn't left here. It doesn't look like it. Just make sure before we walk all the way across the map. Oh, well, would you look at that? The Stitchus Automaton. Well, we will talk to it. The animated corpse of the Stitchus you unearthed towers before you, waiting for your commands. So, wave your hand in the creature's eyes to see if there's any reaction. Examine the automaton. I want you to dig a tunnel to take me somewhere or leave the automaton alone. So, we're going to examine it to start with. It isn't difficult spotting the additions that the Master Foreman's workers have made. Opalescent metal fills its wounds, and the mangled claw has been replaced with a mechanical one. Coils of ridged cables spring from patch to patch before plunging into its thorax. Some of its eyes have changed as well. Faint glowing lights blink from the otherwise empty sockets. So, let's examine again, see if we get any other information. Dull light shines on the rainbow-sheened metal that covers the creature's wounds and on the cables connecting them. You aren't sure what the Master Foreman's workers have done to the stitches, but you can't deny that it worked. So, one more time, see if we get anything. Nope, don't. And wave your hand in the creature's eyes to see if there's any reaction. The thing's pupils blaze brighter at the passage of your hand, but that's the extent of its response. So, we're going to go number 3. I want you to dig a tunnel and take me somewhere. A shuttling click from behind the creature's blinking eye is your only response. You sense it is waiting for you to give a destination. So, okay, interesting. We can tell it to take us to the Stitcha lair, and the Master Foreman had mentioned something about some of that still being intact, so it knows where that is. Or we can tell it to start digging in a random direction, which would be interesting, and I am curious to do it. But I don't know if that, digging is already a problem down here, and I wonder what we'd find, but I am going to ask it to take me to the Stitcha lair. Edge in each stat pool acts like a discount when using points from that pool. Yes, we know what edge is now. As you emerge into a rough-hewn chamber laced with golden filaments, the automaton makes a series of agitated clicks and begins to retreat toward the tunnel. It seems that the creature cannot, or will not, go any farther. Interesting that it won't go any farther. I wonder why it won't. This place smells strongly of mold and damp earth, with a hint of ozone. So that's the energy that's in the rocks reacting with the oxygen. The air crackles with static electricity. It would appear that you've reached the Stitcha lair. All right, so he's gonna head out the tunnel that he dug. Let's look at the map to start with. So that's to Underbelly. We are going to use the cipher that Palai gave us. So that would be the panoramic capture ball, and she specifically recommended this to avoid the Stitcha to take their eggs. Now I don't know if that's what we're going to do. That is kind of my first plan of action, but we will see what happens. Okay. So we use that. It did disappear, and we shall see if it is gone. It appears to be gone, just like that. But I think this was the right place to use it. We can now see everything. To Buried Crossroads. And I think it said the Fog of War, so I don't know if... Yeah, we can see them now. And they aren't hostile yet. But I think... So here's the eggs, it looks like. So let's take a look at where they are. And get a good idea of the layout. So... we can interact with those. I wonder what they do. I think that there's probably a way to get through this. It's quick save. It's probably a way to get through this with minimal fighting, and that's my goal. I don't really want to kill these guys. They don't seem evil, just sort of they're almost like a pest, but they're not just a pest. They're thinking and they're building their homes. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to interact with this first. See what it does. Warm sinews of light lace the walls, spiraling into the base of a hollow statue. It gleams in the same color as the glowing strands. Faint scratches along the base, about the size of a Stitch's claw, suggest that they hit the statue while tunneling and could not extract it. These are tunnels, or these statues. Excuse me. These statues are in the rock, and the Stitcha could not tunnel through them, or they just chose to give up. So, or they didn't care to. It says that they could not extract it. So it sounds like they tried. I mean, we know that there's like there's scratches on the base, but we don't know how hard they tried. So round tubes with apertures of varying sizes connect to a central drum. A soft breeze from the newly dug burrow behind you hums over the opening. Okay, so kind of like a flute. The gnarled metallic veins running through the rocky walls deaden the noise from the device. It is unlikely to be heard outside this room. So, that's interesting. It means that we can kind of mess around with these noises it makes without apparently alerting anything outside. So we can blow into one of the apertures that would obviously make sound, strike the drum at the center, reach inside the nearest opening, or leave the statue alone. So I feel as though this is going to turn into some kind of puzzle, and I hope I can figure it out. So let's start by blowing into one of the apertures. Your stomach flips as a wave of vibrating air buffets you for a fraction of a second. Golden light flows up from the seams into the statue, forming a looping pattern in the center of the drum. Okay, so your stomach flips a wave of vibrating air as a wave of vibrating air buffets you for a fraction of a second. Interesting. Golden light flows up from the seams into the statue, forming a looping pattern in the center of the drum. So we blew into one of these apertures, these openings, and then that created a light that has a looping pattern in the center of the drum, and the drum must be kind of down here. As the rumbling continues, energy coruscates along the veins in the rock running into the device. Okay, so that continues. After a moment, sound gutters and dies away, but wispy tracings of the pattern continue to glow on the surface. It is approximately the size of a human hand. Okay. Though the shape is more like a dozen tentacles. Ooh, maybe a reference to the beings that built this city previously. We don't know anything about them. And I don't know if these are part of the city or not, or maybe they're more ancient. We don't know. So I'm going to place my hand on the light tracings. It might be a problem that we don't have a hand like the dozen tentacles. Let's see. Well, we gained some XP. Let's see what it says. The same sound you heard before rattles your gut. It sputters, but remains on, the acoustics having deteriorated over the millennia. Okay, so it's been here a while. I mean, yeah, it's in a bunch of rock. Makes sense. Though the sound is intermittent, there's something fascinating about it that forces you to pay attention. You easily tear your focus away, but the effect might be stronger if the statue was fully intact, especially on a creature with non-human psychology. Okay, so I think that is referencing the Stitcha that are here. So there is we want to, it forces us to pay attention. So it seems like it draws your attention in, and it kind of hypnotizes you. So I am thinking that we will be, potentially we could use that on the Stitcha that are here to keep them occupied. We collect their eggs, and then we make our way out, and we can use that as our bargaining chip. So, Tybir chuckles. That thing reminds me of a lass I once saw playing a flute in Ain. Had a pack of gents stumbling after her, downright captivated. Might have been her music, might have been that she didn't have a single stitch on. Still, I remember her smile the most. Okay, so let's interact with it again, because there was a few other things that we could do. So the soft, hypnotic vibrations continue to resonate from the statue. It's too subtle to be felt from more than a few meters away. Before the statue was damaged, the sounds were probably audible over a wider area. So let's reach inside the nearest opening. Oh, good. So, I mean, it's not... We needed intellect, the potion that heals intellect. I guess they are... What are they called? It just says it's just elutriated force. So, but it's a potion. Just inside the tube, you feel a piece of loose material. It pulls free with a light tug. Whatever technology the statue represents has been worn away by digging in time, but the fragments may still be useful to you. So we got the elutriated force, and we gained 10 shins. Good, we need the money. So that's fine. We haven't been doing a bunch of stuff that requires might, so I don't need it as much as the encephalic rush. That's what I really need. So I'm wondering if
now
there's a door in the way. And I don't know if we leave.
Yes.
If... Okay, so... It sounds like it would have an effect on them, but we need to get them close. So if we go down here, I don't know if these stitches will be immediately hostile. They may be. But I feel like and this is a juvenile here. There's a few adults, a few juveniles, and I want to avoid fighting them, but if we get in a fight, I think we retreat here and we see what effect this statue has on them. But here we can interact with this guy here. I don't know if this appears to be the door, that appears to be something else. So smooth gray tendrils snake in and out of the rocks of this rock along the wall, in and out of the rock along this wall, eventually growing out to cover the nearby doorway. Though metallic in texture, the material has grown like a vine or fungus. The individual strands are hard but warm to the touch. An inky black tendril with sparks darting from its tip extends from the blossoming, tightly bound creepers. You might be able to pull it free from the vine. So lore natural and quick fingers, and smashing lore and lore natural. So I think that we will try the quick fingers because Tybir might be able to do something with it. So try and find the grain of the vine and pull against it, or attempt to wrench the tendril off the vine. So we are going to do the quick fingers. And we can utilize Tybir, and it is a speed-based one. So our base is 45. Callisteg is even worse. And Tybir, his base is 65, and he has edge. So that is great. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Hope for the best. Great. So running a finger along the tendril, you feel a slight striation that indicates the grain of the vine. You slip a hand around it and pull directly against the weft. It comes cleanly free. The other strands loosen and separate as you move the fragment by them, then wind back together. So we got a mica metal vine fragment. Look at the details. So it's an oddity. This fragment of the organic metal vine you found growing in the stitches. This is a fragment of the organic metal vine you found growing in the stitches layer. It shows some unusual magnetic properties. Continue. Let's see if anything happens when we interact with this now that we have that. No. No. So we'll leave the statue alone. Alright, great. Well, let's open up this door and let's see if they immediately fight us. They may, just being down in their lair. Well, we're getting some kind of reaction. Or perhaps, I mean, we see where they are, but maybe... Oh, interesting. We should avoid direct confrontation with these creatures. Distract them somehow. Okay, yeah, so the Christ infiltrate the Stitcher layer and steal their eggs. Distract the Stitcher using musical stat. I mean, it's telling us what to do, which is too bad. You know, we can kind of figure that out for ourselves. In its dilapidated state, the statue cannot emit enough sound to captivate the Stitcher. So I'm wondering if we are going to come... So it cannot emit enough sound, so it won't work even if we bring them close. So I am wondering, I would rather not fight them, and it does sound like they are quite formidable. But I might be able to... It looks like I can get over and in through here, and there's only one Stitcher in there. Flat surface of the central drum glimmers with wisps of swirling light that form a shape about the size of a human hand. A touch will activate or deactivate the device's Stitch's enthralling hum. So this one here, apparently... Yeah, that statue won't work, but it sounds like this one will. So let us make our way straight to it. So choose one, exploration, lore, or conversation skill. So that's going to consume my action, and I want to make my way to this, I think, as fast as I can. I don't know what that is that it just did. These sounds that they make. Like what effect, if any, it has on us. So they have 22 health. I don't know. There's juvenile and there's adult. So 25 health for the adult, 22 for the juvenile. Armor of 2, resistance 1. So, you know, they don't seem too bad. Oh, interesting. So less armor and resistance, but more evasion and willpower. Far less initiative. Although it's different for each of them. Interesting. Okay, so I believe I'm going to make my way over here. I wonder if we can... It doesn't look like we can close those, but I think... I don't know how far can I go. Not far enough to interact with that. Was there anything... Ooh, this could be good. And then we have the cipher that gives stealth. Confers the furtive eidolon. 50% on stealth tasks, 50% on perception tasks, and automatically attempt to hide as a free action at the end of each turn. I think that might be useful. That might be better than hastened. Let's do that now.
There we go.
So, because what I'm going to do is then... Can I use hasten now? And I want to be... That consumes movement. I mean, I might be able to just use this. And then I run around and do what I need to with these things here. Okay, let's... Oh, right, but it's per crisis. So, I'll do it on myself.
That's the stuff.
So give myself those buffs. That'll be it for my turn, but it's, you know, I'm doing it in my first turn and making point to use that to use it later. We're going to go ahead and do her trans-dimensional dimensional superposition. And then we're going to run around to this guy here and hope for the best. Adult Stitches turn. This guy here. Oh, he's coming into this room. I was hoping that they wouldn't. Oh, so it's an open and close there. Juvenile is coming in. I would really rather not fight these guys. So it's Tibier's turn. So let's try interacting with this now. Good. So captivated. I wonder how long that will last. So I'm going to go ahead, grab these eggs. A mound of chitinous plates bulges with cloudy amniotic fluid. In the center, a cluster of leathery shell-shelled eggs the size of a fist lie intertwined, coursing with electricity. Antennae protrude near one end, and calcified joints curve inward near the other. The nest shares many features with the other Stitcha, but the anatomy has shifted and expanded to protect its gestating embryos. As Tibier approaches this cluster, the mortared limbs creak and shake a few millimeters. The smells of dust and fungus seeps into his nose. At a level almost below hearing, clicks and rumbles quiver from deep within the mass. An invisible force tugs on the metal object in your possession as Tibier comes close. It is not strong, but it is insistent. Lore, mystical. Something hidden in the nest seems to be exerting a magnetic attraction. It doesn't feel dangerous, at least not yet. So he doesn't have his action. So we could do smashing, smash the eggs through the membrane. I don't think we want to do that. We want to take the eggs. Puncture the membrane and expose the eggs. Convince the Stitches to open the membrane so you can study its eggs. Probably not, but hey. And then deception lore. Explain that you wish to use a power source to feed the Stitches' egg cluster. Let's examine the Stitch nest, because he doesn't have an action. This creature was once a Stitches like the others in the lair. Clearly it settled into this position and began to expand, creating a space for the egg cluster. Whether the cluster grew inside this creature or other Stitcha implanted the eggs, there is no way to know. Okay, so they either grow them out of themselves or are impregnated in a way by other Stitches. kind of a macabre way to have offspring in this case. We will leave it alone. So I don't know. Okay, so they are captivated. I don't know what is. So this one here. A flat surface of the central drum glimmers with wisps of swirling light that form a shape about the size of a human hand. A touchable activator. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. Actually, okay, well, I'm not sure if we needed to time it in a certain way.
Fine.
But let's go ahead and do these two things. Beneath the viscous goo of the outer membrane, the clear skin is tearing away from the plates. The large eggs press against the skin from the inside, ready to burst out. The nest creature rumbles intermittently and off-gasses an occasional whiff of brimstone. You translate its whispers to a droning word. B, B, B. The receding plates reveal metallic horns. A coil of coppery filament attaches them to the edges of the chest cavity. The horns pull lightly on the metal objects you carry. Static electricity arcs from them in rare bursts, dispersing the little energy left in the nest. My mystical lore. The horns seem to be generating a weak magnetic effect. So, let's see. Action. Tidal Surge. Requires trained tidal affinity skill to use the tides to make a psychic connection with the Stitch's nest. I don't think I have trained tidal affinity skill. Smash the eggs. Tear open the weakened membrane to expose the egg cluster. I don't think that's the right thing. I don't think that these kind of force tactics are going to be very valuable, other than just to anger the Stitches. And then there's mystical lore and natural lore. Try to sap the nest's remaining energy into the metallic vines along the wall. So I do have training in those. Let's examine it, see if we get a little bit of different information than Tybeer. On closer inspection, it's clear that this creature was once the Stitch just like the ones you've seen. So it's the same as the other one. So we are going to go number 6. Leave it alone. It's Calisteg's turn. And these are, so it looks, they will have this, this effect above their heads, it appears, when they are enthralled. And I don't want to fight them. The glowing statue emits a low hum that tugs lightly at your mind, trying to drag your attention. The Stitcher cannot seem to resist it as you can. So I wonder if I can use this repeatedly. I'm not sure. I can only apparently examine it. So let's see what happens when she interacts with this. Slow clicks and the scent of dust rise from the open cavity in the center of this nest. Sparks outline the egg cluster at the center, leaving a subtler aroma of ozone. So, I don't think I can do that. Deception, lore, natural. So we are going to... None of these really work well for Calisteg. So we are going to leave the nest alone. Let's double check her skills. So, character. Her skills, concentration. Oh, wait, nope, that's not. Oh, that is her. That is Calisteg. Yep. Concentration. Cipher limit increase. Targeting eye. No, and she has concentration, mystical lore, and perception. So not helpful in this regard. We have the mystical lore, natural lore, which helps. Her mystical lore helps a little bit. It would really be Tybeer, but I don't think it matters how much he tries to convince. I mean, perhaps. I guess they wouldn't make a... They wouldn't make a skill challenge that you couldn't pass, but let's see. I think what we're going to do, though, because we can only do challenges on our own. So I'm going to head down to this one here. How many egg clusters are there? The shell is hard and translucent, almost like strong glass, allowing you to see but not feel the eggs inside. From inside the stitches-like mound, you hear snicks and chatters and smell moist, fertile soil. As you move closer to the nest, you feel all your metal possessions shifting and sliding towards the nest stitches. The effect is surprising, but not strong enough to upset your balance. So, mystical lore. There must be something within this creature acting as a magnet. So all of these have some kind of magnetic draw to them. And there was... mystical. Try to disrupt the magnetic force with the metallic vine. So I think that that is maybe the way that we go. And so this one here is smashing and natural, or try to crack open the membrane without damaging the eggs. That, I mean, there's a good chance we'll damage the eggs. So let's go 5, because we all need our action. And how many egg? There's the 3. So if we split up, you know, very quickly. I may have used... No, I don't want to fight that guy, but I don't know what that effect is or what it does, because it doesn't tell me when they use stuff. So it's his turn. We're gonna have to interact, and he doesn't have as many options. So quick fingers, puncture the membrane and expose the eggs. Convince it. So he could do persuasion. And that typically requires... So he has edge on this, on speed. So quick fingers will probably... Let's leave the nest alone and check out his skills just really quickly. Character. So for him, quick fingers, he has some training. He can do deception, but I don't know if that's really the route that we want to go. So, oh. Okay. Quick fingers and natural lore, or I think it's or. You can use kind of either. Maybe we should use power, persuasion, convince the stitches to open the memory, but they're enthralled, so I doubt that's the case. So let's go ahead and do this and hope that we are successful. Let's see what this base level is. So level 1 effort is 20%. That's the edge. And then quick fingers, which is trained, 15%, which is good. So that is helping us here. And we get... Now, it does require his attack. So let's go ahead and hope for the best. No, even at 85%. Actor name pushes his arm through the membrane with a satisfying pop, but he is unable to avoid sharp spines in the cavity, and each of them delivers a nasty shock that leaves him dazed for a moment. At least the eggs are now within reach. Tiger gains a dazed fettle for 1 round. These guys are enthralled, so that's not terrible. Torrents of electricity blaze from the cluster and course over the ground. The overpowering smell of fresh air and blooming flowers blast from the cluster. Interesting. Any nearby Stitcher will surely catch its scent. Okay, so... Let's hope that they remain enthralled. But he is dazed. So minus... Okay, so that's fine. We can go ahead and try this again, but it... Oh, no, we can't. Never mind. So we're going to leave the nest alone, and we are just going to... We're going to try and hide. So we haven't done this before. Attempt to become hidden. Plus 10% on attacks. Cannot be directly targeted. Removed by most actions such as attacks and esoteries. Line of sight and distance from enemies affects the difficulty. So, let's go ahead. Ooh, it's going to use that. That's going to be 60%. We'll leave it at the base level and just give it a try, because we're not moving anyway. So they are kind of, you know, they're running into this, and I'm going to want to get out of here as soon as I can. So it's our turn. And so we had... So I think that we're going to try this. Try to sap the nest's remaining energy into the metallic vines along the wall. So that makes use of, or either or both of a skill that we have training in. So this didn't work out for us last time that well. Let's see what happens. Well, good. We were successful. Let's see what we get. Takes a few seconds to find an exposed conductive point in the vines, but once you do, placing one hand on the node and another on the nest completes a circuit. Your body tingles as the electricity flows through you and into the wall. With the last of its energy gone, the force you felt fades and releases the outer membrane. The eggs prepare for hatching. Ooh, hatching. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. Okay, so let's examine. We'll see what happens if we... The brittle membrane has been torn away and the eggs lie exposed at the center. Okay, so it just sounds like we can take the eggs next time. So, and it just requires action. So just take the eggs. And we're not going to smash them because we want to be able to use these as a negotiation tool. So I am going to take them. So we will number 5, leave the nest alone. And at this point, we don't have the option to hide. So we have our movement. Consumes movement. Automaton cannot use this while... Oh, we have hidden. Hidden Fettle is already active. So we cannot be directly targeted. So we're already doing that. And then Tybir hid as well. So does he have that? Yes, he does. I'm wondering if that means that it was successful, so they can't target us, because it said there was a difficulty depending on how close they are. I don't know if it worked or if they do some kind of check and we can't see. Okay, great. Well, that is all we're gonna do for. Wait, what? How are we doing for pools? Do we want to use that? I'm not sure. Are we still hastened? Yes, of course we are. 3 points of speed. We don't need health, and we don't need might. We might need them soon, but we will leave it. I'm hoping to just grab these eggs and run using the resources that we have already. So it's Calistake's turn. So we're going to go ahead. She might take some hits from this guy, so we'll see. The magnetic pull on your metal possessions remains strong. The Stitch's nest continues its incessant chittering, a staccato pattern that trills up and down the scale. It emits the scent of a damp cave. So, we will do this one here the same way that the last cast-off did. So, she has a much better chance, even just with 1. But we will expend 1 because I don't want her to get stunned, because this guy is not enthralled. So there's a good chance that he will attack her. She had a critical success. I don't know if I've seen this before. So let's see. So we did this. Right, disrupt. So we did the same thing. And for some reason, oh, she had the vine fragment. I guess she had it. I don't know. I don't know if it mattered. That's interesting because it was an oddity, and I was just wondering to what extent they may interact with skill challenges or people that we talk to. So let's see what it says. Stat pool spent on effort restored. Yeah, we need that. You move the vine fragment along the points where the membrane meets chitinous plates. The plates tremble and strain to move. The shell starts to crack. At last, you discover the proper point and you complete the circuit. The plates retract and a long fissure opens through the center of the nest. Okay, great. So, for her, that was... so we are going to... I don't want to fight him. See if we can interact with this again, but it'll consume action. So we're going to leave the nest alone, and we are going to hide. And that consumes speed. So it is like a skill. It didn't... Did it ask us to do that for him? I don't... Yeah, I think it did. I don't remember now. So... I think we will go ahead and use 1. I would really... Because she's in the most danger, it looks like. Okay, so he's running up. He ran past her. So, apparently, and I mean, he is hostile, so I believe that, and he should not have that, does he still have it? It was 1 round, okay.
Why not?
So, quick fingers, and that he is good at. So, we will go ahead, and he's got a lot of guys around him, so let's make sure that he is successful.
Making a note.
Tybir's arm slides through the amniotic fluid, gently grasping the egg cluster at the center. With a light tug, he frees it from the fibers that bind it to the nest. Great. So with that, we are going to leave. We are going to walk out of this place. Can't walk there. There we go. I wonder... Can be removed, but most action says I don't know why I can't move. It does. Too far away.
Sure enough.
There we go. Just not clicking properly or something. All right, great. I don't know if we will be successful. So it is our turn. We're going to click on this. And so this just consumes action. It doesn't...
Making a note.
Dry amniotic fluid flakes off the egg clusters as you pull it free from the nest. So we got the cluster of Stitcha eggs. Now, did Tiber get it? Okay, yeah, we got 2. I'm sure that he did. It just, I don't remember seeing that. And I don't know. He's still, yeah, he's still hidden anyway because of that cloak. Now it is Calistake's turn. So for her, attempt to smash the eggs through the opening in the membrane. Bring all your strength to bear to smash the nest and the eggs inside. Reach in and attempt to pull. So we're going to do number 3. We don't want to smash the eggs. So for her, that's pretty low. Well, wish us luck. Yeah, good. We just had some good luck. So, and it was another critical success. So stat pools spent on effort restored. I get, yeah, it was might. So her might was restored in this, or was that quick fingers? No, that was quick fingers. But I don't know what it's restoring exactly. So maybe it was a different one. I'm not sure. Sliding past the sharp edges of the cracked membrane, you grasp the egg cluster and pull. The fissure is just wide enough to let the eggs through. So Calistake is on fire today. She is just in fine form. I can't go here because I can't see, I am sure. Yeah, no line of sight. So we are going to go ahead. I think that if she is... Can she... So hidden, cannot be directly targeted, removed by most actions such as attacks and esoteric. So this is a focus ability. I'm not sure. I think we just want to walk. I just think we want to walk. Make our way, because it looks like they hide. Yeah, they still hide. And I probably should have staggered. Oh, spotted there. So that... Ooh, quite a bit of damage. We are going to make our way out, though. We are not going to fight. I believe we got all the eggs. Ooh, there's some loot. That's too bad. That's too bad indeed. I suppose that I could go in with... as the last cast off. We could always come back. Try and hide. Ooh, captivated here. Captivated here. I wonder if this is doing it to them. I think that I needed to stagger my use of these. I'm not sure. Escape to the lair and take the eggs back to Palai. I am greedy, and he does have... haste, and I can go really far. I just hope that this doesn't cost me my life.
Of course.
My life for ire and all that. We're going to do it, though. We're going to take that risk. The Calistake did take some damage. This will consume her movement. They are captivated up here, so I want to move and hopefully make use of that. So I'm going to move as far as I can. That's pretty far. She won't be able to hide, but she might be able to hide next turn. Okay, so he's captivated too, and let's just hope that that pays off, because they might be able to hide again. Does it seem like they were captivated for more than one round? Does it say? Captivated, mesmerized by the music of the statue, the Stitches is irresistibly drawn to the nearest one. Okay, well, it is Tiber's turn. And he is absolutely going to hide where he is at. Oh, yeah, it does take his resources, though, too. But we are going to spend some resources to make that happen. And then, is there anything else? So this is an ability. Exploration, lore, or conversation. So I wonder if... It says that being hidden by most actions, such as attacks and esoterics. I don't know if this will remove his hidden fettle. And what could we use? Persuasion, perception. No, I don't think we need any of this. So lore, quick fingers. Quick fingers would have been good before. Smashing, deception, no. We'll just leave it. We are going to end his turn where he stands. Oh, well, interesting.
So, is she dead everywhere?
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. I wonder if she stays dead.
Yes. Now. Of course.
So, we got Odd Gloves and Shin. I don't know if that's it. It's just over for her. I have not had any deaths yet. Well, her, you know, she's still here. So Tybir, I wonder what happens. So have her. I guess that we will find out. Okay, so it is Tybir's turn. He is going to stay exactly where he is at. And we will find out what we do. I can run very far because of my fettle that I have. But I want to be careful, because that is a lot of enemies, and they are all going to run up on me. And apparently, even when they were captivated, they did some damage. So I'm going to run... I'm going to run right here. I don't know if this is a terrible... Oh, wait, there's a door here. We're going to go that way. Oh, no, wait, can I? Oh, I can draw them over there. I just activated this one, so it sounds like they will be drawn to that one. I don't know if by interacting with this one. So Tybir is going to stay exactly where he's at. And we are going to run. We're going to leave. And I don't know exactly what we do with Gal. I mean, she didn't disappear. She still has her portrait here, so I don't know. I don't know what happens when a party member dies. I guess we're going to have to find out. So let's retreat. Oh, no, she gets back up. Okay. I haven't had a death yet. My first one. But apparently, if everybody doesn't die, you make it out alive. So, good to know. Okay, but we did get the loot. So let's take a look. Odd gloves. These six-fingered gloves are completely and utterly achromatic. Their singular lack of color is nearly hypnotic. Okay. So, we learned something down there that's a little bit of a bit of meta information, which is that indeed, when you have these oddities, they can be used in skill challenges or other contexts. So that makes me happy to know that there is some reason to have these. Now, we are going to... That glove seems like it would, you know, Calisteg, sure, like she might be very interested in that. It might suit Tybeer better, but I don't know how long he's going to be with us. We'll see. We'll sort through these a little bit later. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do a quick save here. So Stitch's eggs. And with that, we have our eggs. Let's take a look at what it says about them. This is a cluster of leathery shelled eggs that you stole from the Stitcha lair. When you touch them, you can feel a tingle of electrical energy bound within. So ultimately, when we went down there, we didn't really have any options. We couldn't speak with the Stitcha, or at least, you know, I only had the option to fight them. As soon as they noticed that we got down there, they were hostile. We managed to make it out. Calisteg did fall, but right near the entrance, and we were able to escape. They did take her down very quickly. But we got all the clusters of eggs, and now our quest tells us to go speak with Palai. So let's just see what this says about this. So Palai, you know, we didn't read this one. I meant to. Palai wants me to steal all the Stitch eggs from their lair so that the city can use them as a bargaining chip. She'll also accept a negotiated settlement with the Stitcha if I can somehow bring one about. So maybe we don't speak to Palai and we speak to Chikekt, but he's probably not going to be that happy. But hey, we've got the eggs. But she doesn't believe that such a settlement is possible. When I asked about an alternative means to reach the Stitcha lair, Palai suggested that I look for some sort of digging construct, and we did manage that. Digging construct, or find someone skilled in manufacturing who can fabricate one. The master foreman agreed to create a digging automaton for me, but it required the intact corpse of a Stitchus. I'll have to look around for one. We had already found one, actually. The foreman used the Stitch's corpse I found to fabricate a digging automaton. I can now use it to reach any location underground, including the Stitcha lair. So we will have more options for that automaton to dig. And I think that we're going to explore that very soon, if we don't get too sidetracked. It's waiting for me in the tunnel where I found the Stitch's corpse. I've stolen Stitch's egg cluster, stole the clusters. There aren't any egg clusters left in the Stitcha lair. That means I can head back to the underbelly and give the stolen eggs to Palai. And I mean, it sounds like that's kind of the route that the game is forcing us to take. I wish I could do whatever I wanted with them. I mean, I suppose you could probably keep them and sell them. But, like, I don't know, is there a value associated? Oh, they're quest items, so you probably can't get rid of them at all. But we will find out soon enough. I will see about speaking to Chikekt and see what happens. But I think that we will leave it there, and we have found and taken the Stitcha eggs, and we needed to do so because people are dying as the city collapses piece by piece as they dig, and we need to find some way to stop that from happening, and hopefully there is a peaceful resolution. So we will leave it there. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.